Patriots are back in the big game where they belong. All of New England is turned up. So let's talk some New England Patriots with former Super Bowl champ for the Patriots, Lawrence Guy. My guy, appreciate you hopping on. There's a lot of Patriots haters out there that don't feel like they should be in the Super Bowl right now. They're saying that the Patriots had the easiest road to the Super Bowl with the schedule, the playoffs, Bo Nix being out in the AFC Championship game. As players, we just play whoever's on the schedule. So what do you say to the people who don't think that your Patriots belong in this year's Super Bowl?
You still got to win the games. It doesn't matter how easy or hard your schedule is or what people think. You still got to win. That comes down to the simple fact of when you're like, oh man, they had to play this team in the playoffs. It was the easy road. When if we really want to say that, let's just bring up the Giants all over again. The Giants was the easiest road to go, and I'm like, hey, they should have lost in 2011. They should have lost. They beat the Packers, and they kept continuing to go, and then they won. So what are we really talking about? Is it a truly easy road, or are you just winning the games? And when you look at stats like that, statistics like that, and like it doesn't matter how hard the road was, doesn't matter how easy the road was, you still got to go to the game. You still got to win it. And if you're able to do it, and you'll always will hear people say, oh, it's one play there, two plays there, a penalty here. That is the National Football League. This is a team sport. This is not basketball when an individual could take over a game. It's not soccer when an individual can take over a game. All players on the team have to participate to win the game.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, it's like the football gods have to be in your favor throughout the course of a season for you to, one, be healthy enough through your stars and your role players for you to even have a chance. And then things got to go your way. Chip shot field goals got to be missed, or extra points got to be missed. Guys got to drop balls when they're wide open. I think that's just all sports media talk and just something that's just people who, aren't on the field as the gladiators, something for them to talk about. But like you say, you still got to go out there and you got to play the game. And they've done that throughout the course of the season. And let's talk about this guy, Mike Vrabel, man. I know you didn't get a chance to play with him when you were in New England, but after back-to-back 4-12 seasons that the Patriots have had, did you expect him to come in and turn things around like this in year one?
I did. And you could go back. I said this during the off season. I said, I see them going to the playoff. Now, wasn't expecting them to get to this far. I don't think anybody was expecting them to get to this far. But I knew they were a playoff team. They had the people in the building. They needed to be led a certain way. And they brought back that leader that brought back the family in there. And when you hear players talk about him, you hear it. He's a player's coach. He's a personal coach. He understands both sides of it. And what that's really telling is like, hey, he's going to go out there. He's going to grind it out. He's going to look at that meeting and say, look, this ain't an easy road. I don't care what nobody says. You still got to play. You're playing through injuries. You're going through treatment. You're going through these workouts. You're going through practices. And it's a long road to get to the Super Bowl. It's a long road to get to the AFC Championship. So it's just one of those things that you have to understand. He's there grinding it with them. He's in the meetings with them. He's probably working out with them on the field, doing the drills, understanding the day-to-day activities you have to do to interact, to participate, to actually get there. And I think the best thing that nobody talks about is my man brought out the weather machine because it was hidden away for some years. And he brought out that weather machine during that Bronco game and just let it off and said, hey, man, let it be snow.
Let it be. Didn't Boys the Men sing that song? Let it be snow. Let there be snow or something like that. You taking me back to '90s R&B nights. Bro, when we talk about these Super Bowl runs, though, like there's a lot of Giants fans that are excited about like John Harbaugh coming in because Mike Vrabel, leader of men, like you said, was able to just come in, command respect right away. Giants are also excited that they got Jackson Dart going in to year two next year. Drake Maye in year two has been, I guess, exceeded a lot of people's expectations. So when did you know that he was the guy? Like, was it sometime last season or was it this year?
Well, when you play in New England's not an easy place to play for, and we have to understand that. And understanding he came in there with the humility of like, I'm going to get better. I don't care if I have good games. I don't care if I have bad games. He's going to continue to do it. That's what you want in a quarterback that's going to lead your team, and he's shown it every single game. It doesn't matter if he's throwing an interception; he wipes it off. And if you've seen this throughout the league with players, they might mess up, throw a bad play, fumble, do this, and they start pointing, oh, it's me. Then all of a sudden the game starts going downhill. With him, you see it's a consistency. He's like, it's okay. I trust in my defense. I trust in everything else. I'm going to wash it off and continue to go. And that's what brings him to being the person that he is. And he has that ability to brush it off so well. And it's impressive to watch. And it's one of those things I think the team is impressed by the leadership that he is showing in year two, even the leadership that he's showing in year one. I've never heard anything bad about him. I'm going to tell you this right now. Everybody's saying, hey, he is a great human being on the field and off the field. He understands the excitement. He wants to learn. He wants to get better. And when you have that in New England, you know you're going to have success. New England is predominantly known for one thing, and that's winning. And it's making no excuses. It's making no finger pointing. It's about winning the game. And if you don't win the game, getting better the next week to make sure you win that game. And I think he's been doing this for the last 2 years. And it's been very impressive for somebody, like you said, coming in year two with that state of mind. It's one of those things that's like, hey, I wish I was still on the team if I could see the experience and live this journey with them.
I'm glad you talked about his ability to brush it off because we as players we're always saying play the next play, the next we watch film, it wasn't as good or it wasn't as bad as what the game was. Playing the next play is one thing in terms of in a game, but brushing things off in terms of going through things or going through adversity within the career is another thing. And we're seeing that with Sam Darnold and his road to redemption to be in the Super Bowl right now after what he went through with the Jets and in Carolina, bounced around, had to go to San Francisco. I don't know if I've seen a story like this compared to Sam Darnold. Is there any story of guys that you've played with or any story that you can think of that's kind of comparable to Sam Darnold's road to redemption right now?
Baker Mayfield. If you throw it right there, these are players, and this is something about the NFL that people don't like to talk about. These are players that were good and just got put into a bad situation, and it had nothing to do with them. It's just the draft that they got picked in, and it wasn't like, oh man, what happened? You got picked up by a bad team. With a lot of coordinators. You didn't understand what's going on as you're trying to develop. And we understand when you're your first round draft pick, you should be already here. That doesn't mean nothing if you don't have a good core ability, and they didn't have a good core. And it's kind of this, and he started bouncing around. And the reason why you bounce around, because once you get that reputation already, it's like, oh, it didn't work here. Why didn't it work here? Maybe it's not him. Then we're going to put him in another bad situation. Yeah. Coaching is so big when it comes down to players. Every coach is not meant for every player. Certain coaches are meant for certain players, and he found the coach that he needed that's going to drive him to push him to make him to be who he is, and he's performing at a high level. And it's very impressive because it just shows the grit that he has, but it also shows to the younger guys out here, it doesn't matter where you get drafted. You could bounce around. You just got to find the perfect fit. And like I used to tell the young guys that came in undrafted, late draft picks, like this team might not be the team for you, but you can never stop your journey and keep grinding because once you do, you let them win. And you're going to let them write you off. And he's not letting nobody write him off. He's writing his own story. And it's going to be put in the books and say, this is what he accomplished and this is how it happened. And it's one of those things I know after young guys come in on his team, those undrafted free agents, or those 7th and 6th round draft picks, or someone that's got picked off waivers. It's like, if he could do it, it's going to give me the power for me to do it. And it continues that journey.
I tell people all the time, it's about systems and situations. If you can go to the right situation and have the right system that your skill set can benefit from, you're going to have some sort of success within the NFL. You just got to take advantage of those opportunities. So we're so like-minded when it comes to that. We just found out today that Robert Kraft is not getting into the Hall of Fame as first ballot. Obviously, the Bill Belichick news kind of broke last week. Your initial thoughts on Belichick and Kraft not getting into Canton first ballot?
Well, it's it's difficult when you say first ballot Hall of Fame. We all understand that they're both going to be in the Hall of Fame. What this did was open the eyes to a voting system which we don't know nothing about, but we're now understanding. And what it's always going to do, it's always going to be a what about Bill situation. And when somebody gets introduced into the Hall of Fame, the first ballot, if it's anything else, they'll be like, what about Bill? Now, his name's always going to be the topic of conversation when you're putting somebody in as a coach. If you're putting somebody as a player, where they say, well, this is the reason, that's the reason, he's always going to be there. Same thing with the owner. Kraft is always going to be the one that you're going to hear his name. So it's something that we're all aware to now. Like everybody, if the Hall of Fame has been under the radar the whole time, and it's been maneuvering, like, hey, this is how we do stuff. It is what it is. Now everybody's looking, and for the next 2 somewhat years or how long it takes, they're going to continue to look and they're going to continue to criticize the Hall of Fame just because of this situation that has occurred. Because Bill, yeah, we all know he's a first ballot Hall of Fame. There's nobody has done what he has done, but because they did this, and whatever reason they have, they're going to be criticized for it for every single year. Every person coming in, every person that gets nominated, all that's going to be criticized from now on until they do it. Because I never heard, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, of anybody having to release a statement from the Hall of Fame about any of their decisions. This is something they had to release a statement. That means they got that vote in and was like, hey, we got to call everybody down. This is going to be big. Because they didn't vote him in first ballot. It's like, what do? We got to start playing catch up, play damage control. But the damage has already been done. Everybody already has a certain feeling about the Hall of Fame. This is now putting more fuel to the fire. And like I said, now everybody's looking at it and observing what's going on. Your spotlight's on them for the next couple of years until he gets in. And then the whole conversation is who got in before him? Why did they get in? Now everything's criticized. So it's just one of those things, as I'm repeating myself, it's one of those things that you're going to be criticized for a very long time because of this occurred, and it's never going to stop. And he's always going to be the name of topic when you're trying to bring in a coach and or owner and of why they didn't get in, how they qualified over them.
But for Bill, do you think it was the controversies or the fact that he was mean to the sports journalists during his media availabilities?
That's going to be opinion based. You could say I told a whole bunch of people that like Bill was like, oh, forget all y'all, I'm gonna do it my way, and they're like, oh well, watch us do it to you. But that doesn't hurt nobody but the Hall of Fame because you're supposed to be bigger than everything else, right? And so when it comes down to this, goes back to the TO conversation. When it comes down to accolades and when it comes down to awards, it doesn't matter how you feel about the person. It's about what is on paper. And on paper, it is written in proof of how it is. Same thing with RKK. On paper, it is written in proof how it is. There's no black and blue. He said this, they said that. Oh, he did this. Like, it's on the paper. Like, the stats are there, the achievements are there. And when it comes down to people saying, well, what about the scandals? And there's scandals on every single team. It just did it come out, did it not come out? So I don't want to hear, no, he cheated or he did this. I wish you go back when I got into the NFL, how much stuff that we had on every single team I've been on. I'm talking about it's all over the place. People don't just talk about it. You're talking about hand signals. It takes me 5 minutes to sit on the sideline in 2 series to see your hand signals to tell you every time you do something, it's going to be a cover 2. Every time he does that, it's going to be cover 2. I watch the TV copy or watch the broadcast on TV, and they're like, oh, look like he's going to 2. What is he saying? That's the best thing about it, and that what kind of hurts their case about that. Also, like, well, they were recording it. Well, watch the TV copy, and they just have somebody listen to the TV copy that gets broadcast on your TV. You can find everything out. But the biggest thing is, what happens when Tom comes up? Like, do you now hold the same standard for him when it comes to Bill and RKK? And if it does, okay, this is what you're setting in stone, and if it doesn't, it's going to be a bigger controversy. And like, what's the difference? So is it because everybody loved him, everybody didn't love him? It's just always something going to be said about this situation, which shouldn't have been done in the first place.
Ooh, if they don't let Tom in first ballot, Patriots fans going to burn down that building in Canton. Last but not least, Super Bowl predictions, and I need a score. Go.
It's gonna be. It's not gonna be a lower scoring game. I don't think anybody's getting past the 30s. I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna put 30s, and then we're gonna get past the 30s because this is gonna be a defensive game. And when I mean it's a defensive game, it is who's going to play the best defense, who's going to get the most tackle for loss, tackle for no game, who's going to stop the most passes, and it's going to come down to turnovers. The Patriots defense has been rolling with turnovers ever since they started this playoff. They've been the highlight of the playoffs, and they're going to continue to roll. And we're not going to forget the fact that the elephant in the room, that the Seattle defense is what they are. They're the best in the NFL. It's going to come down to who's going to execute every single play and who's going to execute the turnovers, and it's going to be time management. I think the best thing I tell people about the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl is long. If you're sitting on your TV at home, drinking, eating some chicken wings, it's like this is a long game. Those players are on the field. Yeah. They're sitting there like, why you getting those cool commercials on TV? You're like, oh man, that's a dope commercial. We're on the field like, man, this commercial's long. Like, what is going on? So it's going to be who has the endurance to upload the game and the TV timeout's going to do it. This is not going to be a field goal game. It's not going to be, it's going to be won by field goals. This is going to be won by touchdowns and who has to turn over in the time of possession.
Spoken like a true defensive player right there. Defense does win championships, though, and you got championships. Lawrence Guy, appreciate you hopping on, my man.
Thank you for having me.